All right, Hefty here. Want to talk about Project 4 that's coming up, how we can apply Project 3, and some of the CPDs that we've done and that are upcoming before the project. All right, Project 4 is a human resources development plan. The devil's in the details. That's going to be the focus here for improvements for Project 3. So Section A, right at the start. Again, that's business design and vision. You want to edit, improve, and expand from Project 3. Specifically, your T needs to start with talking about the 4 terms defining your business by the 4 terms or types defined in Chapter 2 from the textbook. And then you'll want to cite the textbook for all that. There's your T and your R, you get started. And then you want to give detailed description of why and how your whole business is going to be designed and run, and that becomes your illustration. Again, go to Project 3 on Canvas and look at the feedback, not just the summary, but within the document. It's very specific to the improvements that are needed. You want to include with Project 3 your situational leadership theory. You were supposed to pick one of those or a combination of those, and then what you want to do is talk about how you're going to use that in your leadership for your business. Also to include your leadership management definitions, and again, those concrete examples of how you're going to lead and manage. You want to also talk about your goals. Again, those are your big picture vision or values. And then you want to provide specific strategies or objectives of how you're going to achieve that. Last, you want to include those evaluation methods. In this area, we're talking about quality control specific to Chapter 7 now that we've gone over in marketing, looking at Google and social media analytics. You want to add your purpose and your why. This was Chapter 7 and CPD number 4 again. We're going to talk about the brand, the mantra, the mission for your business. You must add the type of business you are based on tax considerations. This is CPD number 7 on revenue and finance. You also want to add customer service and retention, CPD number 6. And then you want to talk about the number of full-time staff you're going to have and if you will provide benefits or not. Again, here you should go cite health law. Again, there's law. We've gone over this with a certain number. There's requirements and or benefits if you do provide benefits for your staff. When we get to Section B, again, details here, staff and recruitment plan. This is a new section. It specifically went over Chapter CPD number 2 that we did earlier, Chapter 3 of the textbook. But again, you need TRI for each of the 5 different subheadings. There's 6 points each, okay? And again, you can tell now there's 3 parts, T, R, and I, so 2 points for each of those. Make sure you have to have them fully. The big thing is with the R, make sure you have a citation properly done in text, and then the illustrations need to be I statements of how you're going to, or we statements of how you are going to do it with your business. The illustrations then need to be a concrete tool that you've designed. Again, the 5 would be a job description. You're going to actually design a job description in your business. Your interview agenda, separate from the T and the R. You want to give 6 sample questions. There's 6 types. The book talked about 4, but I added 2 more in the lecture. You'll need an evaluation form, and we talked about some key components to make that valid. And then last, a final recommendation checklist. To help you with that, you can go to Canvas, and it's that first module where we talk about tools for the course. At the very bottom, there is a hiring templates piece for Project 4. Click on there and you'll see an actual job description template that you can use, and that's the basic format that you'll need to get the full points there as an example. But there's also examples of evaluation forms, and then also lastly, final recommendations. All right, Section C then is your staff development plan. This is where you're going to now incorporate from Project 3, where we talked about learning styles and cycles, into your internal training. That would be a T. Tell me how you're going to do that. You'll need, again, to include an in-text citation to that lecture. It was weeks 2 and 4. I posted it 2 places. Specifically, it's called the Leadership Training for Learning. So that would be your R. And then again, include a concrete illustration how you're specifically going to implement that into your training plan. That's your I. Very simple. All right, then with project 4, when you get into section C, description of your staff development plan, again, I would apply customer service and retention into your training programs. You obviously want to do it in your internal training. Make that part of your orientation, part of your agenda. Is it 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 1 day, whatever that is. Again, you may want to put it in external training where you bring in an expert. Focus on customer service and retention. Again, we want to do training evaluations, so have some tools there to assess. Is what you're doing in your training actually being achieved? And then last, staff compensation, get more details, what you're going to provide, why, and then cite, again, starting with health law, but other possible benefits and decisions. And then lastly, your staff development program, certifications, continuing ed. Big thing here is you need to provide concrete examples. So the illustration for each of these ends up being, again, an agenda or outline of how you're going to do most of them. When it gets to mechanics, last one. Most of you have done a good job with this, but I gave you some feedback if you didn't. But again, this needs to start to be the format for your final business plan. Once you get that down, then it can be consistent and easy. You're just copying, cutting, and pasting and building the same layout. You need headers for each of the sections, and then where there's numbers on any of the rubrics, those should have subheadings. Again, you must list all the references, not only the ones you cite or use, but also ones you can research and need that you've read about. A good example is, even if you don't cite the textbook, as it says here, you need to include that with every written project. Make sure you proofread, and then you can see now you need a minimum of 8 credible references listed here. One more time, personal communications are unpublished, so they're great to cite, and that would be an example of that is all my lectures are unpublished. So you can cite those or from personal experiences, or maybe an interview with a business owner, maybe a family member who's a business owner. Those are personal communications. You want to cite them within the in-text document where you do that, but you don't list those as a reference and can't count as one of your minimum 8 there. All right. So again, one more time, check the due date. Don't wait till the last second. Get cracking at it here. Thanks.